Good morning. Today's video is going to be a little bit different because for the past couple of days I've had this idea with me. It's been lingering in the back of my mind, and the events happening in the world right now has done nothing but solidify that idea. Homo sapiens, human, just like you and I, are flawed. We are nature's greatest mistake, God's greatest creation. Those two don't go hand in hand. But before we have that conversation, my name is Ivan. Welcome to Books by Ivan. I read books and I talk about them. And today, on some rare occasion, I take what I've read from books and integrate them into topics I believe must be talked about, or at least acknowledged. And today's topic is nature's greatest evil, the human species, and why world peace is unattainable for us, at least right now. The idea of perfection is flawed. The idea of human perfection is flawed because it assumes that humans are capable of reaching a state that we were never designed for, intended to reach. We are creatures of contradiction. We are capable of love and we're capable of hatred, kindness and cruelty, creation and destruction. Our flaws, right? At least in the topic that I'm about to discuss, they aren't just mistakes, They are embedded in our nature from ancient times, right? We chase perfection as if perfection was a form of destination, like the final spot. But if you remember in a book that I recently read, the Spoke Zarathustra, the concept of the Superman is mentioned, and it says, I don't remember correctly, that we shouldn't strive for perfection. We should reach a higher realm than that. That's me paraphrasing what was said. But as I was saying, right, we chase perfection as if it's the destination, but in reality, it's, once again, this is an opinion, it's an illusion, right? A standard that we use to judge each other, and often harshly. I can call back to a few times when you can judge someone based on what other people have done, not because of what they have done. It's taking, right, what a whole group of people are doing and just assuming that this person in this group will behave the same. I'm sure without me saying the word, you already know what I'm talking about. But the pursuit of perfection blinds the truth. It blinds us to the truth, right? It wants us to be like the next person, but our imperfection as species, a different group of species, is what makes us human in a way. And sometimes they are the very things that led our downfall, right? Because there are a certain group of people that no matter how much you try to change, they will always assume that because you're part of this group, you're bad, etc., etc. And as I mentioned earlier, our imperfection is what makes us human, is what differentiates us from each other, is what makes us our own individual person. Which is why some part of me, sometimes when I see people that are like changing themselves, that includes like surgery and whatnot, to look like the next person, some part of me feel bad because that is generation upon generation of craftsmanship gone to waste because you want to look like your neighbor, the person that you see online. We are being heavily influenced about wanting to be like someone else instead of being ourselves. You know, it's like a copy of a copy of a copy. There's no individualism. Like in fashion, for example, right? You could follow certain trends or you can be your own trend. I mean, your own trendsetter. You can find your own original style, or you could go on social media, TikTok, and what else that you use to get inspiration. You could do that. But at the end of the day, that's not you. You're not embracing yourself, you're following behind someone. You're not adding your little personal touch to it. And I believe that that is our downfall. There isn't a sense of self, of singularity, if I could say it like that, if I could put it in that way. We're trying to be a copy of a copy without being ourselves, and that will lead us to our downfall. So instead of striving for an impossible ideal, maybe we should start by acknowledging the flaws that we carry and understanding how they shape the world around us. Just because you aren't what you want to be right now doesn't mean you have to follow the next person, do exactly what you're doing. There are different paths to reaching a destination. Let's say, for example, right, you want to reach the airport. There isn't a singular road to go to the airport. There are multiple paths that separates, divide to reach the final spot. So you need to acknowledge that your flaws doesn't mean that you have to go. Your flaws that are within you, you don't have to disregard those flaws just to be a copy of a copy, right? And as I mentioned earlier, this video will also involve the concept of peace, because as of right now, I don't believe that peace is attainable for the human species, right? And there are two fundamental reasons as to why human can achieve peace, right? And the most obvious one is that a certain group of people believes themselves to be superior, quotation. They believe themselves to be superior to the rest. And a quote from a book that I recently read, thus Spoke Zarathustra by philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. It says that relationship between people cannot be formed without equality. And I am very much inclined to agree with it, because if people aren't equal, no true, genuine relationship can be formed. And that goes directly against the belief of that particular group. Remember, they believe themselves to be superior. So, without genuine equality between different groups of people, there can't be a glimmer of peace in the world at all. Something else that leads me to believe that humans can't achieve peace, at least not in my lifetime, is human greed. Greed is, as of recently, I started to think of greed as being embedded in the human genome, right? That from the young age, you wanted things for yourself, you didn't want to share. You were greedy, you were greedy and selfish. You didn't want other people to have what you have, and when you saw other people have something, you wanted to take it away from them to make it yours. And that idea of greed goes hand to hand with the conflict of interest, the idea of conflict of interest. Different people want different things. Different nation wants other nations. Different people want different things, right? And certain nations want other people things, and they will go to an extreme length to acquire it, right? I mean, it's not like there's anything we can do about it, right? From ancient time, it's been like that. It's part of human history. When us as a human race want something that isn't ours, we feel the need to take it, to make it, we feel the need to take it, disregarding how it affects another group of people, or that person in particular. And that is just one of the things that I believe is wrong with human as a whole. We are supposedly God's greatest creation, and yet nature's greatest evil. We have the concept of free will, but free will doesn't mean that you get to destroy everything that he has made for us, or she has made for us. As far as I'm concerned, it could be he or she. But in the end, it's clear that, peace is not just hard for humans to achieve, right? As long as we're flawed, it would be impossible, because superiority and greed continue to drive our actions. These flaws are rooted deep within our history, and it keeps us in a cycle of conflict, division, and struggle. We like to think ourselves as evolved, the most evolved species, the most intelligent, and all that good stuff, right? We believe ourselves that we are capable of progress, but real progress can't happen until we confront who we are. That is a topic for another day, but maybe that's the harsh truth, We are not meant for peace as a species, at least not in the world we're currently residing in, that we have created. But, recognizing our flaws is the first step to breaking free from them. Whether we do that or not, well, that's honestly up to us. But what do I know? I'm just a man out of billions traveling through infinite space. But as always, remember, it's better to read than not to read. Have a good day and be good people. Bye.